Welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday to the Establish the Run NBA DFS Injury Analysis Show for the last day of January here, Tuesday, January 31st. We got a 5-game slate, pretty light on the injury front. I am your guest host, Gary Hartman, filling in one more day for Drew Dinkmeyer here. He should be back tomorrow on this show, but joined as always by Mike Gallagher, the best at this. How you doing, Mike?
Doing good, yeah. Let's only one more full month of NBA. We've got abbreviated February with the All-Star break, full March, and then shortened April. So pretty crazy to be sort of see the light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, good, pretty decent day yesterday. Great plants from us with the Steph and Dame plants. Kind of read the situations, I think mostly right. Kind of got wrong who was going to miss, but. We were like, keep DeJounte in there, and he was obviously probably the best player in the slate. Or he was the best player in the slate.
Yeah, cost adjusted.
So it was a pretty good day overall. Didn't win in the prop streets because we got some bad information on Jaden McDaniels being sick and not getting that, which is why we took the Fox under. But yeah, overall not a bad day and really light day today. Pretty busy day tomorrow. Busy day Thursday too. So I don't think anybody's on a back-to-back either. So it's kind of an unusual day for just information, but we got a lot of not too much Q tags, but definitely stuff to talk about.
Yeah, no teams on either side of a back-to-back, huh? Or on the front end. Yeah, pretty amazing. But nonetheless, 5 games tonight. Should be some fun ones there on the docket as well. Let's start right off with Lakers rounding out their New York trip here. We're in Brooklyn last night, in the Garden tonight. What they have there going on. All right, Patrick Beverley is out. Austin Reeves remains out. AD probable with the foot injury. LeBron with that, questionable tag that we're so used to seeing with the ankle. Obviously, those guys sat last night, did LeBron and AD. What are you expecting out of the Lakers tonight?
So definitely going to get AD back. We saw him come off the bench and start the second half with, I believe, 14 and 15-minute halves. So pretty close to full. So I'd expect him to start and play pretty full minutes. Probably 33-ish is where I'd probably want to put him. I haven't looked at minutes yet. I had a little hike this morning. But expecting him to start over Thomas Bryant, moving Thomas Bryant to the bench. Should note, Thomas Bryant didn't close yesterday, which thank our lucky stars, because we had an under on his rebounds, and it was a miracle that we didn't get an L there. But expecting him to start. Expecting LeBron to start. A little bit more concern there. Quotes from Darvin Ham saying that there was a lot of soreness with his ankle, but he's had this questionable tag for a while. So definitely expecting him to start. And Troy Brown was really good. Career high rebounds yesterday, and he closed, hit some, kind of kept the game close, had 4 assists. He was really, really impactful. Arguably their best player, you can make a case for yesterday. So I think he would start. That's kind of their lean. And then bring Rui Hachimura back off the bench. I think they kind of like his chemistry with Russell Westbrook from their Wizards days. So expecting, there's an outside chance, I guess, they start them both.
Yeah.
And because you're taking Beverly out, that would be kind of funky with your on-ball defense, though. I don't think they really want Schroeder to be that guy. So I think that Lonnie Walker makes a little bit more sense for me. They put Lonnie Walker as an on-ball defender a lot. So I would lean the starting lineup being Schroeder, Lonnie Walker, Troy Brown, LeBron, AD, and we'll see maybe a little bit more longer leash for Westbrook. Westbrook played 30 minutes yesterday. They did pull the plug with couple minutes left, so that kind of kept the minutes down just a little bit for some of their high minutes guys.
Yeah, I expect LeBron to play. Obviously, national TV game. They sat him out last night, on purpose, kind of going for this game as the one that they're going to win on this New York trip. So I will not be in the Garden tonight, but I'm looking forward to watching it. Yeah, and the Troy Brown thing. Sorry for all our subscribers behind the paywall. I think the one Laker that I kind of poo-pooed yesterday from a DFS perspective. So you never know when someone's going to pop like that. Obviously, the opportunity was there for him last night, so good on him. Yeah, so we'll wait and see. You agree with me? You think LeBron should go, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident he's going to go. Again, there was just a little bit of it may have just been like building an excuse to say he's banged up, and maybe just giving him credit because he's not 100% and he's playing through this. Obviously, the whole world's watching him as he's trying to run down the points record. So. Really, that's a testament to why he's getting this conversation. Right, the dude just is so durable. So
I've heard a bunch of conspiracies about them trying to strategically make it so he breaks it in LA. I guess so. One of the reasons he's out last night. I'm sure that's right.
Yeah,
they need to win. They just need to win. I mean, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
I hope they don't win tonight. So anyway, that's the big, kind of big overall question or conversation to talk about. Let's get into questionable tags. Clippers guys here tonight. I guess they played last night, huh? Did they?
They played Sunday. They had a Saturday, Sunday back-to-back.
Gotcha. But they do have 3 rotation pieces questionable here tonight in Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, and Robert Covington. And John Wall obviously still out with the abdominal pain. So what do you expect out of the Clips tonight in Chicago?
Yeah, so we saw them rest a bunch of guys over the weekend. Standard. That's kind of what's going to happen with these guys. And then they really pulled the plug late in the game. So I'm definitely expecting them to come back with a starting lineup. I think Morris is going to play. He's been out like a week with this thing, which raises another question on who's going to start for them. They're playing against a guard-heavy team, so I wouldn't be surprised. And they seem like they really like Luke Kennard in the first unit. But I think that putting Morris out there, giving him the DeRozan assignment, and then bringing Terrence Mann to guard. So I think that makes a ton of sense. So I would lean the starting lineup being PG. He's maybe slotted as a shooting guard, but he's the offensive point guard. Terrence Mann, Kawhi, Marcus Morris, and then Ivica Zubac to be the center spot. And then if Marcus Morris can't go, I don't know if they're going to go back to Batum. That's kind of been their move. But given the matchup, I wouldn't be surprised if they started Kennard. And then you're actually asking Kawhi to guard DeRozan, which would be a little uncharacteristic. But again, I'm expecting Morris to expecting him to come back. Missing a lot of time for this rib injury. It's very uncharacteristic. I talk about TJ Warren all the time, getting like knocked down and go straight to the locker room, is back out the next day. TJ Warren. So I think he's going to be back. But mostly. And we'll still a little bit of a minutes cap on Luke Kennard. He was definitely managing the back-to-back, but we've seen his minutes get up there a little bit. They really like him. So the rotation could be, a little bit tighter. Interesting game against the Bulls.
Yeah, definitely an interesting one. I think Covington's probably the most unsure here with personal reasons. I mean, always impossible to know.
Yeah, they don't need him anyways. They'll be fine. They maybe slot in Amir Coffee or they got Batum and all those guys, and Powell's gonna get minutes off the bench. So they don't even need Covington. I don't think it really has an impact.
Cool. Late night hammer game tonight. For Eastern, a 7 to 7:30, 2 8, and then there's a 2-hour break. We have 1 10 o'clock game, and it should be a fun one. Denver in New Orleans, but Denver does have a key questionable tag with Jamal Murray here, listed with the knee. What are you expecting out of Jamal tonight?
Yeah, pretty standard Q tag. He's been getting that here and there. Haven't seen anything to kind of keep him out. So not a back-to-back set. They're going to play the Warriors on Thursday, so expecting him to start. We saw a lot of minutes against the Sixers, but should be back out there. Obviously, the Bones Highland rumors would be very much in the foreground if he did miss this game. But I think Murray's got a pretty good chance to play, as you mentioned. 2-hour gap for that. So, maybe playing into that, there could be some edge. But I think
we'll talk about
generally
that
play through these Q tags.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at 5. I'm hoping he plays because, fun should be a fun back-to-back TNT set. Sit down from 7:30 all the way through 1 a.m. or whenever it ends and just not do anything tonight. That's what I'm doing. My wife's away on a business trip. It's all hoops for me tonight, so I'm looking forward to it.
Is she mad at us for taking an Alec Burks under yesterday?
If she was home, I would have told her about it. I'm sure she would have been.
Okay, good. Yeah, wife doesn't have to know everything.
Doesn't have to know. Yeah, if we're going this morning, my wife is the biggest Alec Burks fan on the planet. She was very upset when the Knicks traded him this offseason. Anyway, I think that does it for questionable tags. Doubtfuls and outs, also not much to address on that front.
Well, there's like a shady questionable tag in Miami, but we could talk.
Okay.
I threw in the probable tag for the rundown, but yeah, good.
Okay, cool. We'll get there in a second then. So I guess just Charlotte is going to be a little shorthanded overall tonight because they're still without Oubre, Cody Martin, Theo Maledon, Kai, and Book Knight, all not available for the G League guys. So their depth is, obviously already crappy, really bad spot tonight. But I mean, you can talk through that spot.
Yeah, they've got pretty much most of their guys. They're going to be starting the starting lineup of LaMelo, Rozier, expecting Hayward and PJ Washington to start with Mason Plumlee at the center spot. And Chris Lafficus and I, we slayed the dragon. We have been hammering these Mason Plumlee under points, rebounds bets, and we finally got it yesterday in a really bad matchup. It's another really bad matchup today against the Bucks. And one thing I wanted to note really quick that's not injury related is in previous instances under James Borrego, Mason Plumlee would get the Giannis matchup, and it was a really bad spot for him. But earlier this year, they've only played one game against each other. Giannis missed the second one. It was actually Jaden McDaniels getting that assignment, but that was because they didn't have Gordon Hayward. So now I think Plumlee gets that matchup. And as a matter of fact, Chris Lafficus and I, we took it again. We fired points of Mason Plumlee under 23.5 points and rebounds. So if you're a crazy person, that will not be enough. That will not be an official. There's zero chance. The math does not like it. If you want to get in on losing some money and taking Mason Plumlee, it's a really good spot. Really good rim defense. So we like him. We took a Rozier points under from an inflated line. He's been shooting really, really well. But yeah, rotation should be pretty solid. I mentioned the starting five. McDaniels should be pretty good and kind of alleviate some stress off Mason Plumlee. I have no read anymore on if it's Mark Williams versus Nick Richards. I think it's Mark Williams. He's been playing really well, and we've seen a little bit longer leash and shorter stints. But for all we know, it could be Nick Richards back in the mix. DSJ getting a little bit of overlap. That's kind of your core 8. And then, maybe mixing in some JT Thor or somebody like that. But, they've got a pretty solid rotation. Clifford been running pretty tight. Some comments on taking more three-pointers with their guys. They're going to want to probably take three-pointers here. Bucks three-point defense has been a lot better. So, interesting matchup. We'll talk a lot about LaMelo. He's been playing pretty well, looking great. He's been running after loose balls and taking on a lot of ball handling, pushing the pace. Big win against Miami. Got really good against the zone. He was kind of getting the teeth of defense and disrupting the zone. They can move around. It was a really good game from LaMelo over the weekend and a win that they really needed to have. Tough loss for Miami, I should add too.
Oh yeah. I don't have much to add there. You won't get any pushback from me on the Plumlee stuff. You got a co-host in the chair that is more on team F the math with you than your normal co-host is. So I like the Plumlee stuff. The Mark Williams, Nick Richards thing is the most frustrating thing going on in DFS right now, in my opinion, especially on small slates like this, where that spot is actually critical because we know how good a per minute producers those guys are, but not knowing which one it's going to be on a night in, night out basis is really, really frustrating. So we'll talk it through at 5 o'clock in a little bit more detail. But
I mentioned on the pod feed that Plumlee's talked some trade deadline stuff. If you're playing season long and somehow he's not available, make sure, if he is available, make sure you fix that. I think he's by far the guy you want for a possible deadline skyrocket.
Yeah, I imagine they're going to look to move him and Hayward. I don't know if they'll be able to get either of them done, but
it's really been Plumlee by a lot, and we're hearing McDaniels, Oubre. They really want to shop. Those are like the three guys.
I think they would love to shop Hayward. I just don't think they can.
They would love to.
I was just reading the Fred Katz Knicks article, and like there was a possible trade there, but I don't think the Knicks, would be a Fournier.
They're not going to get enough for him. But Plumlee's contract year, Oubre basically is someone I think a team would be in on.
You think PJ's a dark horse there to move?
PJ could go. There's been a lot of rumors with the Warriors and a couple other teams too. But it feels like this team's just got to clear the decks, man.
They're like the clearest seller on the entire market, obviously. So it's like we'll see. Got about a week away from the trade deadline. Too. Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. All right, so that does the deal. So probables/returns. Let's talk about that Miami spot now. They do have Gabe Vincent listed as a questionable, but you're expecting that to be more of a probable tag. Jimmy Butler listed available on the 130.
Yeah, so we know Miami always take it with a grain of salt, but it sounds like they're going to have their mostly full rotation back, and we saw them cut down some of the other guys. So would expect to see the starting lineup remain the same. Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, Caleb Martin, who was losing minutes. He picked up some decent minutes, didn't get too many closing minutes in the last game. Shout out to us for betting his under. And obviously Jimmy Butler would expect pretty full minutes. Tough matchup against a Cleveland defense that is, we could talk about Kevin Love in a second, but really interesting spot. A team that likes to play big against a Miami zone that just doesn't give up interior scoring. They're the best team in the NBA at living at rim stuff. But starting up, I mentioned, would expect Gabe Vincent to be behind Lowry with no overlap. We've seen Lowry's minutes tick up a little bit here. We saw him get more closing minutes, kind of came in a little bit earlier in the last game too. So that's something to know. Orlando Robinson behind Bam, and then mixing in Max Strus, Oladipo, who played pretty well as far as just defense and being aggressive. Didn't make his shots. Luckily for us, we had his under. But the rotation seems to be pretty straightforward here with Miami, pretty close to as healthy as they've been all year.
Yeah, Lowry got back up to 30 in their last game. We'll see obviously about what that looks like tonight, assuming Gabe Vincent is available. Other probable tags, Kevin Love, probable Cavs are, if he plays, they're as healthy as they've really been. Only Dylan Windler also on the injury report. So any notes on Cleveland on the other side of that game?
Dylan Windler getting shots up in practice. Huge news.
Oh, wow.
We saw Donovan Mitchell play pretty well in his, after injury. We were a little bit concerned about how he was going to miss time, but, looked good. And even after the game, he was getting shots up because they kind of had his minutes short because it was blowout and all that stuff. So, went through practice. So, don't forget about that 20 minutes. Would expect Donovan Mitchell to pick up a pretty sizable role, and he's going to need to against this matchup. So, expecting him to be fine. Kevin Love, we saw him miss over the weekend, should be back. Really just a management thing from as far as I could tell. So definitely not, as you mentioned, pretty healthy here. And one thing I wanted to note is Dean Wade really making an impact in the minutes. We saw, late in the week he was playing upper teens, and he just launched up to be really one of their main wing defenders. I think they're going to want shooting in this matchup like really bad. So could see Okoro's minutes maybe come down a little bit in this spot. We saw his minutes tick down a little bit. You're not facing that slash happy guard. We know Tyler Hero is the drop killer. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Dean Wade possibly cut into Okoro's minutes. And then obviously we'll see, Mobley and Jared Allen struggle against really good interior paint defense led by Bam Adebayo, whose defensive player of the year odds have been shortened significantly lately. He was like 14, 13-1 this time last week. He's like down to like 5-1.
Yeah. And if they can keep winning, like, he'll be definitely right in that mix. Dean Wade, like, I think we all were probably undersold how important he is to this team for that injury. He's out at the end of November. Like, we've been saying how they needed to upgrade that Lamar Stevens spot so much. Like, they like Dean Wade and what he brings. And I think he's a perfect complement for this team. So, man, I like Dean Wade.
We're going to be are we doing a Dean Wade?
No.
You want Miami 3-point shooting?
Maybe spicy. I got the Sadiq Bey spice last night. Maybe we'll do some spicy points. But Chris, thanks for the shout out there. No. I just like him as a player. I think he's good for that team.
Yeah.
Anyway,
classic 3-and-D guy. Yeah.
Not sure why I'm going 2 minutes on Dean Wade, but there you go. All right. Giannis probable tag, which worth keeping an eye on because we've seen the probable to out for Giannis before. This is a game that they should have in their bag at home. Any chance we get the shenanigans from Milwaukee here tonight?
Saying there's a chance, yeah. Definitely not a national TV game, not a back-to-back, though. We saw him drop 50 in 30 minutes. Just complete smash on the Pelicans. And I've talked about this all the time, and the Pelicans' rim defense is so bad. Only 7 free throws and 3 threes. So he just cooked on 2-point short-range stuff. Did get some jump shooting in there. But, should be good. But, again, this is a knee thing. We've seen both knees pop up in the injury report with probable tags and out tags and questionable tags. So as we always say, you do not treat these probable tags for Milwaukee as probable tags. You treat them as questionable tags. But we should have that information. We may get the game time thing, but don't let the game time thing freak you out. So expecting him to play, but be ready if he's out. And then not having Bobby Portis really changes the dynamic of how their front court rotation is going to go. They've been playing a lot smaller in the second unit with more Grayson Allen, more Pat Connaughton. We've seen Wesley Matthews pop into the rotation and fill some minutes there. Joe Ingles' minutes could be elevated. So, we'll probably talk through that more on the injury report. And then obviously, Drew Holiday would be picking up a really big role if Giannis is somehow not playing. But again, probable tag, taken for the word for now, expect him to play.
Yeah, totally. And Beauchamp also probable on the Bucks injury report,
which means he's out according to the last time listed as probable.
Right. That's going to be an important. We'll talk a lot about this at 5:00 if we assume we don't have the news yet. But there's a big decision point because obviously the ceiling on Giannis is massive. Big spread there though as well, and you do have the risk of obviously the sitting. So definitely a decision point on a small slate. All right, last.
And I forgot to note the Pelicans. Let me just hit that while I'm here.
Yeah.
So they're gonna get their guys back. Brandon Ingram said he kind of felt like himself. We saw him sit out back to back. Nothing really to that. We're probably gonna see most likely the standard starting lineup. I think they're still gonna start Trey Murphy, but we know they're gonna start CJ, Brandon Ingram, Valanciunas, Herb, and again it should be Trey Murphy. But I won't be surprised because they're losing a lot of games. And Murphy has been non-impactful defensively and kind of not there offensively. So I won't be surprised to see Najee Marshall, give a little bit more size. You got a big team on the other end with Aaron Gordon, MPJ. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of kick out Trey Murphy here now that they have enough offense with CJ. And also they're playing this mixture of like Larry Nance behind Valanciunas and then bringing in the other bigs like sort of functionally as like a 4. Which is interesting. And then another thing that I wanted to note was Willie Green had this comment that's saying they're looking into playing Kyra Lewis, who's played pretty well when called upon. They're getting no minutes out of Devontae Graham. So I'm curious to see if Kyra leapfrogs him in this spot. So just something I wanted to note. But expect the Pelicans to be full go. He said, they need a win really bad. They've just been dropping games left and right, falling from like the 3 seeds. I think they're like 9th or something. Just what an 8-game losing streak. They've been just horrible lately.
Yeah, I love Kyra at Alabama. I've always wanted to see him get a little bit of a shot in the NBA. Obviously, that Pelicans team deep in the backcourt particularly. But, we'll see. That's interesting. Last probable tag, Derek Jones Jr. probable for the Bulls. Obviously, expect him to go. Any notes there for Chicago?
Yeah, actually, I do have a note. Billy Donovan talked about not playing Andre Drummond, and he said this for a while now. He's saying that they like this Derrick Jones Jr. center lineup in the second unit, so I expect that to continue. And he's like, nothing against Drummond, but yeah, I think he's going to be pretty solid. So for filling in the minutes behind Vooch, Vooch's minutes have been really strong. So you're not going there, but against the Clippers, spaced out unit, I'm pretty sure that Drummond's not going to play today.
Okay, fair enough. That's worth noting. All right. Anything else injury wise or notes wise? We'll be back at 5 o'clock. But you got anything else here?
No, I think I got all my notes.
Cool.
Yeah, covered. Or do you have any Knicks notes? I was going to ask you if you had any Knicks notes.
No.
Tibbs, because I was going to add. There's a comment from about Tibbs about Julius Randle shooting because he's been in a bit of a slump, and he says he still wants to shoot him. So
yeah, of course
we'll see. Interesting matchup against the Lakers. Randle needs a big game today.
Tibbs will let Randle shoot his entire career if he can. Isn't no issues. Just giving him 40 minutes and as many shots as he wants. No. I expect, especially if AD goes, I expect, pretty much close to 48 true center minutes. We'll see. But that's kind of where I'm at. We'll talk more about it later.
Cool.
But yeah, I think that's it. Good luck to everyone in your games tonight. Of course, support the people who support us. Mike, tell us a little about Underdog Fantasy.
Yeah. The show is brought to you by our friends at Underdog Fantasy. They have daily NBA snake drafts for money, in addition to many formats of NFL contests running for huge prizes. If you're playing NBA Pick'em in-season, subscribers can use our tool to compare ETR projections to their game. If you haven't signed up yet for Underdog, use promo code ETR for a matching deposit bonus up to $100. That's promo code ETR at underdogfantasy.com.
Yep. Perfect stuff. Obviously, Underdog is the best. Hope you've all had some success in the NFL playoff contests. I was a point away from making it to the finals of the gauntlet. Came in second in one of mine. That's all good. All good. Anyway, we will be back at 5 o'clock Eastern behind the paywall. Mike and myself, once again, as Drew will be traveling back, should be back tomorrow. But if you are not going to be joining us behind the paywall, please do support us with your clicks and your subscriptions to this YouTube page. Give us a little thumbs up. We appreciate it. Feed that algo. Nom, 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 as one great Drew Dinkmeyer would say. And we'll catch you all later or tomorrow. Take care, everyone.